Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with another What's Hot in the News. And today is Friday, and it looks like there was no official announcement of a deal having been reached between China and the United States of America. But yet, Steve Mnuchin is quoted as saying, the talks went well, but there is no need to rush. And so I think there is a need to rush given the fact that the tariffs have just increased from 10% to 25%. And China has reported that they'll be willing to retaliate, whatever that means. So today I have just one article, which is a breaking news story from USA Today. More importantly, you'll find out all the details beneath this video in the description. Just want to thumb through the surface, give you something to look at, and then share my thoughts at the very end. So let's dive into this article. So here we have an article from USA Today, which came out a couple of minutes ago, and it's a breaking news story, and it says, U.S.-China break off latest trade talks without announcing a deal as new tariffs rile markets. So, give you an idea what's going on here. It says, United States and China ended a session of trade talks this Friday without an announcement of an agreement, hours after new tariff hikes took effect and President Donald Trump threatened new ones. So not only did he increase tariffs from 10% to 25% on a lot of goods, but he's also, as it says here, threatening new ones. And so the latest news were, quote, constructive, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin told reporters, but he did not provide details. He's quoted as saying, talks with China continue in a very congenial manner. There is absolutely no need to rush, unquote. So my thing will be, no need to rush. I would imagine that they have more of a desire to get this resolved than what Steve Mnuchin is leading us to believe. But to continue on, it says, Trump said in an early morning series of tweets sent just hours after new tariffs took effect. It says global markets have dropped throughout the week as investors fear new U.S. tariffs and Chinese retaliatory tariffs will raise prices for consumers and slow the global economy. The Dow Industrial Average was down 1% on Friday at midday, but trimmed its losses a bit after Mnuchin's statement. It says the results, they said, will be higher prices for consumers, perhaps less trade between the world's two largest economies, and more complicated negotiations on a new trade agreement. It says new U.S. tariffs on the $200 billion in Chinese goods went into effect at 12:01 a.m. on Friday after the two sides were unable to nail down the details of a new trade agreement during talks on Thursday. It says rates jumped to 25% from 10% on massive range of Chinese goods, including office furniture, handbags, and frozen catfish fillets. It says Trump met Thursday night with Treasury Secretary Mnuchin and U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer, and they agreed to, quote, continue discussions on Friday with the Chinese, the White House said. Scroll down a little bit more. It says, speaking to reporters at the White House midday on Thursday, Trump indicated he was ready to move forward with the new tariffs, but he also said he had received a quote, beautiful letter from Chinese President Xi Jinping and would likely speak to him about the negotiations. So here we have the president being quoted as saying beautiful letter. And so what exactly is a beautiful letter? But I would imagine on Xi Jinping, it was not so much of a beautiful letter when all the pressure is being put on his country to come up with a deal that this president is real pressed to get done right away. Next article here is more details as to some of the impact that could happen with this tariff situation. And this is from Market Watch. As of today, it says, here's how hard the escalating tariff fight will hit the economy. And then it says tariff hike will cost U.S. economy $29 billion by 2020. Cost the global economy $105 billion, according to Oxford Economics. Scroll down a little bit more. It says the escalation of the U.S.-China trade tariff and the threat of future tit-for-tat measures marks significant risk to both countries and the world economy, analysts said. Quote, no one wins trade wars, not even the bystanders, wrote Gregory Dacko, chief U.S. economist at Oxford Economics. And then here's a little visual aid here that shows you some of the consequences of the GDP over this whole trade situation by going up from 10% to 25%. It says U.S.-China 25% tariffs to weigh on global activity. And so here we have a lot of things looking like it will be very unproductive in regards to the economies actually being able to continue to grow. Scroll down a little bit more. It says Dacko updated his outlook for the U.S., Chinese, and global economies, estimating that the move to hike tariffs to 25% from 10% on half of U.S. import from China, with China raising 8% tariffs on $60 billion of U.S. imports to 25%, will reduce U.S. gross domestic product by 0.3% in 2020, while curbing China output by 0.8%. So once again, these are numbers that are being thrown out by an economist, but we always know that the numbers that are usually given are always adjusted down the line, and by them being adjusted, it's good to say that they're going to be a lot worse than just a measly 0.8% and a 0.3% by 2020. I would imagine those numbers being a lot bigger before we even reach 2020 if this thing continues to escalate, because we're not sure 100% on exactly how China plans on retaliating over these tariffs. So it's good to say they're not going to continue to allow Trump to just increase tariffs on their own without them doing something of that same nature to kind of lead the way as well. So we will see. So this was happening in the news. It looks like there was no official deal being made, but yet tariffs did go up, and we've yet to hear how China will respond. So in my opinion, I imagine that China will soon decide to lead the way in this whole tariff situation, as opposed to being on the receiving end of a president from the Western Hemisphere, better known as President Donald Trump, continuing to force his will upon this country to come up with some type of deal, given the fact that he's known as a deal maker. And so it would be good to find out exactly what's all included in this deal and what type of negotiation is actually taking place. And is there more to this story than just about tariffs and trade deals? Could there be some type of currency situation in the mix? Could there be more to this story that we're not being told? I imagine there is. But other than that, I would love to find out what you think about this situation. Is this just about trade, or is it about a lot more? Curious to find out. Leave a comment beneath this video here sharing your thoughts. And other than that, look forward to keeping you up to date on what's happening with this tariff situation. Enjoy your day.